You know, there's always been this one game that I think about from time to time, like once every year for whatever reasons, and that I would truly love to see return. Even if you guys haven't played it, you must have heard about this game, whether through a random DVD renting store in your city, or one of your older cousin was playing it when you were a kid. I'm talking about Brothers in Arms, the tactical FPS and TPS World War II game. This game is a classic. Gearbox Software had hit the video game industry pretty hard with the very first Borderlands back in 2009, starting a now immensely popular new trend of games, which is the looter shooter. And as Borderlands grew in each and every game as well as its new fans, so too did the company itself. When you think of Gearbox, you definitely have Borderlands in mind. But there's also one other thing they are known for, a franchise that is still loved to this day and has a real and dedicated fan base, Brothers in Arms, of course. It wasn't until 2005 that they released their first original game for the PlayStation 2, Xbox and PC called Brothers in Arms Road to Hill 30. At a time where games were dominated by World War II shooters once again, most of which were too afraid to do anything that is different of this era, which is the classic all-out war battles, well, Brothers in Arms came along and decided to do its own thing, with strategic decisions you could make and the ability to control your very own unit. Did you know the series was officially coming back and the new game could be announced soon? Let's get into it and talk about this. 12 years ago in 2008 was the last time we ever truly saw a Brothers in Arms games. 12 years ago, and it is now we're finally talking about a return. We know it's coming, we know it's been confirmed, and we also know there's going to be a new sequel of some sort. Sequel or complete reboot, it'll be continuing the story of Sergeant Matthew "Matt" Baker, which is the main character. First of all the way back in 2015, Gearbox Software said that they wanted to make a new Brothers in Arms game, and even though they didn't explicitly say that anything was in development yet, you could already be sure it wasn't going to be abandoned. They always honored the series and really wanted to come back to it one day. Later in that same year of 2015, Gearbox boss Randy Pitchford said that the studio was in the beginnings of getting started on this new Brothers in Arms project. There is no doubt that, since it hasn't even been shown yet, the game will be available to next generation consoles, and could be our very first World War II game with next-gen graphics and mechanics. Now going forward 2 years later in 2017, Pitchford officially confirmed the game is in development, that it was going to feature Sergeant Baker, it would be a true authentic World War II game, and that it would be published by Gearbox's own label, which gives them the rights to do whatever they want with it. They have full control. Pitchford also confirmed that it would follow the same tactical and strategic direction in terms of combat as its predecessors, and would still be really focused on good and interesting storytelling. Thanks to all its Borderlands games, they have learned a lot from it. Going forward a year more in 2018 now, Gearbox itself confirmed they were still working on the game, but it still wasn't ready to be shown yet. The studio was hard at work on both Brothers in Arms and the now released Borderlands 3 at that time. Just months later, they reconfirmed the game was still in development due to a lot of fans that kept asking about it. From that very moment, Randy Pitchford stopped sharing new details, limiting his replies to all the fans of the game with just a simple phrase: "We are not ready to announce anything else." This was repeated a few more times until early 2019 when he said, "So sorry, I don't have an answer for you yet," again on Twitter. "We are working on something and I look forward to when it's ready to share." On March 28, 2019, Borderlands 3 was officially announced. The hype was huge for fans of the series, and so a lot of people stopped asking for Brothers in Arms, for obvious reasons. From that moment, Randy Pitchford stopped sharing details. The silence lasted for many months. It was clear that the only priority for Gearbox was Borderlands 3, as they wanted to make it a great success, of course, and it was a great success. A lot of people still play it to this day. Randy would eventually end the silence after the launch of Borderlands 3, once the storm was calm and the hype of Borderlands had lowered just a bit. On the very first day of 2020, IGN published an article called "I Miss the Brothers in Arms series." Pitchfork responded just minutes after with this: 100% teasing a new game once again. Maybe the reveal is sooner than we think. We actually have a lot of digital events taking place this summer. Any events could be revealing this new sequel now. What's even more weird is just 2 months ago in April, Gearbox officially announced a Brothers in Arms TV series. Why would you revive an old franchise like this as a TV series if a new game wasn't coming? The first season is said to primarily focus on an ensemble that has to prevent the Axis powers from learning about D-Day based on a real-life rehearsal operation called Exercise Tiger. Now for both gaming and television, it will be a win-win situation. The game shall be announced soon as well as the TV series, and they will release close to each other so it can be a massive success for both. One last interesting tweet from Randy Pitchford was posted last month. When a fan asked how combat and gameplay will evolve in the franchise, Pitchford replied, "We are going deeper, closer, and more personal." I cannot wait for this. In my opinion, we're living in a World War shooter renaissance at the moment. There is literally a game for everybody right now, and World War games still have their place on the market, again in my opinion, even though a lot of games used it recently. Battlefield 1 opened up the possibility that maybe the historical shooter was worth looking into again, followed by Call of Duty World War II, Battlefield 5, and a sea of smaller indie shooters such as Postscriptum, Day of Infamy, and Hell Let Loose. I'd still think that now would be a perfect time to announce it and release the new Brothers in Arms games. The franchise has been quiet for some time now, with the last game in the series being Brothers in Arms 3 Sons of War for iOS and Android, and it clearly wasn't where the series needs to go. It'll be interesting to see if Gearbox will be opting for a sequel to the last game or a complete reboot. The main character is confirmed to still be there, but since it's been 12 years since the last real game, it might be time for some kind of reboot, with amazing graphics this time. Alright guys, let me know what you think of the return of Brothers in Arms, and if you'd like more news on it, drop a like on this video and subscribe to stay tuned. Thanks to Jigglyboy for being a master member on the channel. You can become a survivor member for 99 cents only. It'll support me and the channel as a whole. Thanks for watching.